In a war where mercy is punished and compassion is weakness, I broke every rule to save her, a wounded enemy left to die in the ruins of her world. I didn't know why then, only that her eyes refused to leave my memory. Now, hunted by my own people and hers, we raced through the stars with nothing but a fragile bond between us, a bond that might just be the only thing keeping us both alive. Because somewhere along the way, I realized I wasn't saving her, she was saving me. The war had erased names, faces, and reasons, leaving only the constant drum of survival. And yet, when I saw her again, slumped against a broken wall in the ruins of her world, everything came rushing back. Smoke curled through the cracked ceiling above, carrying the acrid scent of burned metal and blood. The sky was a fractured bruise of red and black, streaked with distant fire from ships tearing each other apart. And there she was, an alien girl with violet skin dulled by bruises, long black hair clinging to her cheeks, her breath shallow and unsteady. Her silver eyes, so bright once, now looked like shattered mirrors reflecting only fragments of who she had been. I moved closer, boots crunching softly over debris, until I was close enough to see the swelling around her left hand, twisted and scarred, the metal of her restraints biting deep into her skin. She flinched when my shadow fell over her, but she didn't pull away when I knelt, slowly extending my glove. My hand hovered over hers, trembling, not from fear, but from the weight of what this meant. She looked up at me then, blinking through exhaustion, whispering something in her language, a sound broken and frail, like a prayer meant for no one. I didn't understand the words, but I understood the feeling, that fragile thread of hope that dares not believe. I whispered softly, "I'm here. I'm not leaving." The last time I saw her, she had been a prisoner, a trophy paraded before human officers who spoke of her like a weapon, not a person. She had not begged for her life. Instead, she had looked straight at me, eyes unwavering, and asked, "Do you believe I deserve to exist?" I had no answer then, but my hesitation had been enough to spark this dangerous chain of events. Enough to make me smuggle her away from the auction chamber. Enough to brand me a traitor when my defiance allowed enemy forces to strike in the chaos. Millions had died since then. Colonies had burned. And still, I couldn't regret what I did. I reached into my pack and pulled a med patch, applying it carefully to her swollen hand. The faint hum of the seal resonated against my glove as it tightened around her bruised skin. She winced but didn't make a sound, only watching me, silver eyes glistening but guarded, as if afraid a single tear would break whatever fragile moment this was. Finally she spoke, voice hoarse, carved from pain. Why come back? They will kill you for this." I tightened the wrap gently, looked into her eyes, and said, "Because you're the only thing that reminds me I'm human." The sky groaned as ships descended through the clouds, distant explosions shaking the ground beneath us. I knew we had minutes, maybe less, before the drones found us. With a deep breath, I slipped my arms under her and lifted her to my shoulder. She gasped softly, clinging to me with her good arm, her body trembling against my armor. I felt the rapid beat of her heart through the plates of my chest rig, a faint rhythm that told me she was alive, but fading fast. The ruins stretched ahead like the skeleton of a fallen giant, jagged towers leaning like broken teeth, fires flickering in hollow streets. I moved quickly but carefully, weaving between shadows, ducking behind scorched pillars as the hum of patrol drones passed overhead. Once, the beam of a searchlight grazed my shoulder, sending her grip tightening around my neck, a silent plea that made my pulse spike. I whispered, "I won't drop you. Not now. Not ever." At last, the clearing came into view, my shuttle half buried under debris, hull scorched but intact. Relief washed over me like a sudden storm, but it was short-lived. As I set her down gently near the hatch, she caught my arm with surprising strength. "If you take me, you can never return. They will brand you forever." I met her gaze, saw the fear not for herself, but for me, and shook my head. "I don't care what they brand me," I said softly. "I care about you seeing tomorrow." Her lips parted, as if to speak, but no words came, only the faintest tremor, the barest glimmer of disbelief softening her hardened stare. I strapped her into the seat, activated the shuttle's med field, and climbed into the cockpit. Fingers shaking, not from fear, but from the weight of everything I was leaving behind, I powered up the engines. The ground trembled beneath us, and through the viewport, the fractured skyline began to recede, fires dimming like dying embers. Then, unexpectedly, her hand reached for mine. Not the broken one, but her other, soft, trembling, hesitant. I looked back. Her silver eyes met mine, not with certainty, not yet, but with the fragile beginnings of trust. I don't understand, she whispered. Why save what isn't yours? I exhaled slowly, turning back to the void as the stars began to spread across the black. Because maybe what's ours, I said softly, isn't where we come from. It's who we choose to protect. For a moment, silence filled the cabin, soft, heavy, and almost peaceful. Her hand squeezed mine gently, not a promise, not yet, but something close. Something that said she wanted to believe. And as the ship cut deeper into the endless dark, I realized something I hadn't before. I hadn't saved her because I was strong. I had saved her because I needed to feel human again. And somehow she had given me that. Not with words, not with gratitude, but simply by surviving and letting me hold her hand.